Hey everybody, it's Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, where I go on a weekend cruise just about every weekend. And this weekend I am once again on Royal Caribbean's Freedom of the Seas and wanted to come back and talk to you about what I've seen as the passenger count keeps growing, and we're gonna have 3,300 people on this sailing. So I was fortunate enough to be able to start sailing back when Freedom of the Seas started up again in July of 2021. I saw the numbers grow gradually from 400, 800, 1,500, and last weekend we had 3,200, and this weekend we're scheduled to have 3,300 guests on board this ship, and wanted to chat with you today a little bit about the changes that I've seen and kind of what's my opinion of some of the good, some of the bad, and some items that I think are going to be sticking around for the foreseeable future. Now, if you enjoy this content and want to learn more about the weekend cruises, make sure that you're sailing on into that subscribe button down below to stay up to date on all things weekend cruising. So when I think about why these numbers have changed, there's a few things that come to mind on why the numbers have so rapidly grown. I feel like literally 3 weeks ago, I think we were at 1,500. Labor Day weekend, we saw a spike in the 2,000s. But now it appears we're really hanging tight in that 3,000 range for the Freedom of the Seas and the weekend cruising. So some of the things that I've seen that are changing that are, number one, COVID numbers have fallen. This is something I know we are all celebrating. More people are getting vaccinated, and I think that we're honestly just getting more comfortable with COVID in general, and people are coming on cruises. With that, I think the cruise line has also made the weekend cruise very appealing from a price standpoint. I can tell you that the prices of weekend cruises have dramatically dropped from what they were pre-COVID and even to what they were 2 months ago. If you want to go on a weekend cruise, now is the best time to be booking one of those because the prices are absolutely in the sweet spot. What that lower price also means, though, is that the demographic of the ship, I believe, has shifted a little bit because there's a lower price point. So I am seeing a lot more younger individuals. I'm also seeing a lot more locals, and locals to Port Miami means the sailing is a lot more Latin. I'm also seeing a lot more groups. I can't tell you how many bachelor, bachelorette, there's a 50th birthday party on here, and there's even a crime scene educational kind of gig that was on here last weekend, all contributing to these increased numbers. So some good changes out there with all these people returning to sailing, things that I like because there are more people here. The first one is that the Windjammer is finally open. They have had Windjammer closed in the evenings, and your only option for dinner was the main dining room, El Loco Fresh, or going down to Sorrento's for pizza. I personally have been going to the main dining room every single night, but every now and again, you want to have really good food in an easy environment. So going up to the buffet in Windjammer is a huge win for the weekend cruise. When it comes to the excitement level or the energy on the ship, that is something that you all know that I love coming on the weekend cruise because people bring this amazing energy with them. If you are looking for nightlife, it is absolutely back on the ship. Again, with that shifting demographic that is out there, you're going to find that these people are here to have a really good time. If you're going to Club Red, if you're going to the Silent Disco, if you're hanging out at the Oasis Lagoon, you're going to see that that energy is at an all-time high. People are partying, they are having a great time, and really enjoying themselves on this cruise. I also am a huge fan of people watching. So when it comes to people watching, if there's only, I'd say 1,200, 1,500 people on here, this ship feels like a ghost ship almost. You can walk the promenade at 7 o'clock in the evening and you might see 5 people. Unlike on this ship, which I just boarded, you're gonna see probably 40 to 50 people in the promenade, and we're still boarding people onto the ship. One of the other good changes that I think is going to come, I haven't actually seen this one play out yet, is that Nassau will start opening back up. So we are seeing a lot more ships going into Port of Nassau, and I'm hoping that their downtown area really does start to open back up. The bars, restaurants, the Straw Market, Señor Frogs, all of these places have still been closed. Some other items that I think have changed, and I honestly don't like the fact that these changed, so these might be the bad things that have changed, and some of these are going to be no surprise to any of you, but I will say that the first thing that is changing with more people on the ship is that you can't get an elevator as easy as you used to. We knew that we were living in the glory days of pressing the button and the elevator would show up. That is not the case anymore with over 3,000 people. You are having to wait for those elevators once again. There are signs on them, so interesting. They used to have signs that said only 4 people in the elevator. Now the sign says no more than 5 people in the elevator. I will also caution you that that's not happening. People just get into the elevators as they come. If we honestly kept it to just 5, you would never get anywhere, or you would never make it onto any elevator. So seating is also another issue that is coming up at this point. So with COVID, they did space out a lot of the seating, and the places that I've seen this the most is pool days. So if we're in Nassau, a lot of people are not getting off these days, and the pool deck can be rather crowded. So they removed a lot of the chairs in order to provide social distancing on the pool. These days it fills up really, really quick because they have not added those chairs back yet to still keep us social distancing. You're going to see the same thing when you go out to Coco Cay. So I personally have not had a problem finding a seat yet, but if you're looking for a prime seat that you used to always be able to get when there was less than 1,500 people, it's going to be a lot more difficult. If you're going to Coco Cay and looking for that seat, another place that you're going to find a little bit of a wait is going to be on the tram service. So Coco Cay has grown. If you haven't seen my video on the South Beach episode, make sure that you're looking and seeing what all South Beach has, but it is tough to get to. You do probably want to take the tram, especially if you have mobility service, but all the trams I see passing me are full of passengers and guests going onto the island, so you may have to wait a little bit for the tram service. Back on the ship, you also are going to find a lot more people in the casino. The younger demographic loves going to the casino, and it is becoming a very, very busy place. This is a fully vaccinated area, luckily, but it's becoming smoky, it's becoming crowded, and I would not be surprised if the table minimums started going up a little bit, especially knowing that there's so many people there. It's gonna drive those minimums up. So back to my point on people watching as well. So that is a good thing. I love watching people. You guys know this. But I will say, because of this crowd is here living their best life, many of them have their drink package. The people watching can kind of be a little obnoxious sometimes. So the examples I'll give is there was an 11:30 p.m. showing Sunday night for freedom.com, the iShow. And there was a group that came in that was completely drunk, wanting to sit in the wrong seats, making a scene, and just being really loud and disrespectful to the other people that are there. But more importantly, to those ice skaters who have worked so hard to be there and to provide a really good show for us. So there's all these different situations where, yes, there's great people watching, but I'm starting to see a lot of the people watching go really far south. It still makes great people watching, but it's unfortunately things that are a little obnoxious or things that just make you scratch your head a little bit. So in thinking through some of the items that have changed that I think are here to stay for a while, the first thing is being served in the buffet. So if you're at the Windjammer or you're at the Chill Grill on Coco Cay, I think that they will continue serving us, hopefully forever. I can't tell you the stories that I've seen pre-COVID about children and even adults and the gross behavior that they had at these buffets. The other item is, I think masks are actually going to be here for a while. And before everybody freaks out, mask wearing on the ships, to me, is not that big of a deal. You need to wear it from point A to point B is the only time you really need to wear it, and that's when you're inside. So if you're leaving your cabin and you're going to the dining room, you would put it on while you're walking out in the hallways. As soon as you get to the dining room, that is a vaccinated only area, or you're eating and you can take it off. So let's talk about overall, how has the weekend cruise specifically changed from those 1,200, 1,500 numbers now to the 3,000 some number that we are currently achieving. So the good news, a cruise ship, you can make of it what you want. So if you come on this cruise ship, you can absolutely have a relaxing time. You can squirrel away by yourself. There's always somewhere you can escape to that's going to be a little bit quieter, a little bit slower, and allow you to have that style of vacation. But what I'm finding specifically with the weekend cruise here on Freedom of the Seas is that a lot of people, given those changes in demographics, are choosing the exact opposite of that, and it is turning into a party crowd and into a booze cruise. It was probably a little bit like this pre-COVID, I'm not gonna lie, but I think that given the new price point that's out there, it is really taking off on that booze cruise. There's a lot more groups that are coming and people that just want to live their best life with that drink package. This weekend cruise is honestly a very specific demographic right now. I have a feeling eventually it's going to change, But I wanted to make sure if you're looking at coming on Freedom of the Seas, you really understood and know what this cruise line or cruise ship is going to be like. Again, you can have whatever kind of experience here you want to, but know that you're probably going to be surrounded by a lot more people living their best life. Thank you for listening into this video, and I hope to see you on a weekend cruise soon.